Yo guys, what's going on and welcome back to this video. Today what I'm going to be going through are my top 5 books that you must read in 2019. Now look, I want to make this clear right off the get-go. These are not the most famous 5 books in the world, and I've purposely chosen it that way. 90% of you have probably watched videos before where they speak about the favourite books. I know I've certainly watched a ton, and you hear the same books over and over again, especially in the entrepreneurship niche and the self-improvement niche. You hear Think and Grow Rich, you hear Rich Dad Poor Dad, you hear .com and Expert Secrets, you hear 4 Hour Work Week, you hear the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you know, you hear Mastery. All of those books are fantastic, and yes, I've read all of them, and they are some of the best books of all time for a reason, and they are some of my favourite books. But I don't just want to give you more titles of books that you've heard of before. What I've gone ahead and done instead, I've got 5 books right here that you may not have heard of, and if you've heard of them, the chances are you probably haven't read all of them. So hopefully you can get some value out of this video today. The links to all of the books will be in the description box down below. Now, just to make things clear as well, I don't have an order for these. It's not going to be in a list of my top 5 favourites in order. They're all just as good as each other in my opinion. They're all so different. So I'm just going to go through them in a random order. The first book though that I want to go through today is Morning Miracle by Hal Elrod. I literally found this book by searching on Amazon, Morning Routine. I never heard of it. I never heard of Hal Elrod. I never got recommended this book. I've never seen anybody read this book before. But I had a few good reviews on Amazon, so I thought I would go ahead and purchase it. And oh my god, this book changed my life. Now, for anybody who knows me, is I live and stand by my morning routine, okay? If I do my morning routine in the morning, I have unstoppable energy. I feel fantastic. I'm way more productive. I get way more done. I'm happier, okay? And I'm overall living a more successful life because of my morning routine. It takes me about 45 minutes every single morning. If I do not do my morning routine, I notice it. I feel lethargic, or more lethargic than I would. I don't have as much unstoppable energy. I am not as productive. So anybody who has considered starting a morning routine, or maybe you have a morning routine, you want to get more out of it, or maybe you don't have a morning routine at all, but you're interested in it, highly recommend checking out this book. It's about 200 pages long, I believe. Actually, it's under 200 pages long. And when I first bought this book, I read this whole book in a day. Not speed reading, I literally read cover to cover of this book in a day. I made a ton of notes, as you can probably see in here, circled, highlighted a ton of stuff, and it really transformed my morning routine and my overall life for the better. So, really cheap book, probably pick it up for about $10 on Amazon. Definitely recommend it. It's been a game changer for me, honestly. Fantastic book, not that well known, but really, really great. And by the way, the author here, Hal Elrod, has a fantastic story which he does explain in the book, which is really motivational. Okay, so the next book here is Total Recall by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now this book is a mammoth. This book is thick, man. This is like 600 pages long. The text is pretty small as well. And this book took me months and months to get through because, believe it or not, this was one of the books I actually started reading when I was working my 9-to-5 job. It's crazy to think when I read this, I don't even have my business started. And, you know, obviously I've come a long way since then. And this book was one of the things that helped motivate me to start my online business. And anybody who knows anything about Arnold Schwarzenegger will know that he achieved an awful lot in his career. Anything he really put his mind to, he achieved. He became a millionaire before, and this is something not a lot of people know, he actually became a millionaire before he became famous. He was a millionaire in real estate. Obviously, he was the highest paid actor, or if not one of the highest paid actors at his time of his career. He was also Mr. Universe, and he became the governor of California, which, as an immigrant, which he was, is the highest position you can get in terms of sort of the political ladder there. So this guy put his mind to things and he achieved it. And like I said, this is a really, really, really big book, and it took me a long time to read through this. But if you want to learn anything about achieving goals and achieving success, it doesn't really get much bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger to learn from. And I've read a lot of biographies and autobiographies in my time of really successful people, and I have to say this is my favorite. This is actually a used copy because, like I said, I was just working a normal 9-to-5 job when I first started you know, when I first started reading this, before I started my business. And I think I picked this book up for like £2 online. It's a used copy, and for £2 worth of knowledge, what you get in this book, $2, $3, $4, $5, even if you buy it new for like $10, this is a must read. Honestly, it's fantastic. So the next book here, quite possibly, even though this is really not a well-known book, I would say my top 1 or 2 books, top 3, like at the most, of all time here. And this is a book called 168 Hours by a lady called Laura Vanderkam. So it's called 168 Hours, You Have More Time Than You Think. Now, the reason I love this book so much is because it came at a time in my life where I needed it more than anything. And that was when I first actually started my business, and when I first landed my first client, I was reading this book. And obviously I've got a bit of an attachment to that for that reason. But what this book teaches is time management. What this teaches you is exactly how much time you have in a day, how to be more productive. And as the title states, 168 hours, well, there's 168 hours in a week. And Laura really breaks down how much time you spend doing pointless stuff. This is another book that I read from front page to back page in one sitting. Again, if I just explain what's in this book, it does seem really mindset-y, but it's one of those books that you need to read before you start an online business. If you have an online business, you need to read this, because after you read it, you are going to realize you are wasting so much time. Like it says, there's 168 hours in a week, and I bet if you add up how much time you're spending on pointless stuff and actually take notes of it, you're going to be disgusted with yourself where you're wasting time. So whenever you hear people or you yourself make the excuse of, I don't have enough time, read this book and you will never ever say those words again. I promise you, must read. Okay, another book here. Fantastic book, a bit more of a well-known one here. And this is Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. I want to show you something right now, which is just going to blow your mind. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. That right there, I've got my light in so you might not be able to see it. That is a dollar sign. I bought this book when I was in New York 3 years ago, I think, before I started my online business, for $1. And what this book taught me is insane. So for those of you that don't know, Tony Hsieh is the CEO and founder of a company called Zappos. Now, Zappos actually got acquired by Amazon for, it says here on the back, $1.2 billion. And the fact that for $1, I was able to buy a book from somebody who is a billionaire is absolutely crazy. And universities and colleges charge tens of thousands a year for education. Blows my mind. But anyway, I digress. You need to check this book out. I learned so much about this. This, as the title states, Delivering Happiness, a Path to Profits, Passion and Purpose. Now, what Tony teaches in this book is that you really need to put your customer happiness first, the happiness of your employees first, before anything else, before your profits, because if you make your customers unbelievably happy, you offer fantastic service delivery, you go the extra mile, your business will grow itself and your profits will follow. So yeah, Tony has a really interesting story, and the stuff you learn in this book will help you in all aspects of your life, and yeah, highly recommend it. And the fifth and final book that you need to add to your collection in 2019 that you definitely need to check out is The Productivity Project by a guy called Chris Bailey. Now, funny story here, I actually got this book for free. I was in Singapore on a layover on the way to Bali, and the air hostesses were actually giving out like $30 vouchers for like to use anywhere you want in Singapore airport. And I, obviously, me being me, went straight to the bookstore and I picked up this book and read it on my connecting flight from Singapore to the UK. I think it was on my way home actually, the way home from Bali. But anyway, this book teaches everything you need to know about productivity. This book really has it all. If you're looking for one book on productivity, I would recommend this one. I've read a lot of books on productivity as well. Obviously, I've got my bookshelf here. I've probably got about 10 or 15 books on productivity alone. And out of all of them, I recommend this one the most. And the guy that wrote this, Chris Bailey, has basically dedicated his life to learning about productivity, and he's done it himself, and he's put everything through the test. And it's a really easy to read book. Now, I've got the hardcover copy here, but what sometimes I like about books, and this is just personal preference, I don't know if you feel the same, but I hate it when it's really small text. I like bit bigger text, nicely laid out, so I can shoot through the pages quickly, sets off that dopamine, makes me feel like I'm achieving stuff. It's just a personal preference, but I really like the layout of this book. Really, really easy to follow. I've got tons and tons of notes that I've made here, and you know, for anybody that wants to achieve anything in life, you need to learn how to become productive. It's as simple as that. If you're working 20 hours or say 18 hours a day, okay, well, that's fantastic, but if you're working hard but not really achieving anything, what's the point? You need to learn how to be smart with your work, and when you are working, be productive, because if you can work, say, rather than 18 hours, achieve that same thing in 6 hours, you then got either 12 more hours to spend time with your friends, family, do what you love, and still achieve the same thing. Or if you understand how to be productive, you can get 18 hours worth of productive work done, and you've basically tripled your workload because you are being productive. It's the best way to get the most out of your time. And obviously you want to automate parts of your business, but look, as the owner of your company, you're going to be working on stuff for the rest of your life, so you better learn how to be productive, and this book teaches it all. Again, it's not that well known. I don't know a ton of people who have read this, but highly recommend that you go ahead and pick this up. So hope you guys found some value in this video. Hopefully you found at least 1 or 2 books that you haven't read that you want to go ahead and read. All of the links to that will be in the description down below. I personally love audiobooks too, so if you want to get the audio versions, you can go to audible.com. I know they have a free trial a lot of the time, and that you can download like a free ebook, a free audiobook, so go and check that out, or whether you prefer to read it on Kindle. I don't care, but what I want to say to you is read those books this year. It takes an average person, if they read 10 pages a day, you can read an average 300-page book in a month. You should minimum be reading 12 books this year, and if you're doing audiobooks, that's fine. Listen to 15 minutes a day, and you will easily get through a book a month, okay? And I've read a ton of bad books in my time, and I've read a ton of crappy books in my time, and all they end up doing is wasting time. These books will not waste your time. They'll add so much value to your life. If you got even half as much out of them as I did, they will still transform your life massively for the better. So hope you guys found some value in this. Drop a comment down below of your top 5 books of all time. I'd love to get some recommendations myself. I'm planning on reading at least a book a month this year, so any recommendations you have for me will be awesome as well. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic 2019, and I will see you guys next time.